Hello and welcome to a new Streaming Parson video essay series where we take a deep study into some aspect of Dig Delight Direct Drive DJ or D4DJ. Today's video will be about the character Togetsu Rei and the dichotomy that exists within and outside of the D4DJ universe due to the change of actor or seiyuu. I wanted to start off with Rei because as I was listening to the 2023 version of early original Happy Around songs like Give Me Awesome and Brand New World, I wanted to process my thoughts on how I thought about them and revisiting my thoughts on the change of actors Shizaki Canon and Iri Maiko, which means I will be revisiting my tier list and trope talk videos in regards to Rei. First, an introduction. When Rei was introduced in D4DJ First Mix, she was seen as elusive and had an aura of mystery to her even in her first scene being an unaccompanied child at a DJ festival event. From this scene, there was going to be a dynamic character story arc that would play out and in real time would take almost 3 years to cultivate. More on that later. However, First Mix immediately mixes things up and brings the central focus to Aimoto Rinku, a bubbly, fun-loving, and carefree girl who messes up her first day of school by going into the wrong classroom. This scene transition is important because from a genre perspective, it keeps D4DJ as a cute girl doing cute girls thing genre of storytelling. This narrative pacing is kept well for the first few episodes as we are introduced to Akashi Maho, an ambitious but kind of clumsy DJ, and Onaru Tomuni, a cute girl in a cute girl world, and she knows it kind of character. Introducing these three members of Happy Around is important as it paints the image that Happy Around will grow into as time progresses. Then we get to episode 4, where we are reintroduced to Rei. Okay, technically Rinku bumped into Rei in episode 1, but episode 4 is where it actually matters. The conflict of the episode is that Rinku and Maho want to enter a music composition contest for Photon Maiden, but neither of them can actually compose music, so Rinku comes up with the brilliant idea of learning to play piano so she can compose it herself. This is where Rinku meets Rei, and to speed things up a bit, Rinku asks Rei to help her compose a song. We are then given a glimpse into Rei's past, and we learn that Rei has a contentious relationship with her pianist life. Here we are given a huge build-up to what would be a great story plot for an anime season if D4DJ First Mix was your average anime. However, D4DJ First Mix's primary objective is not about character development, but rather it is transmedia advertisement. A quick info dump on what transmedia is and what it has to do with D4DJ. D4DJ is one of several music franchises produced by the mega corporation Bushiroad. Happy Around is one of 8 real-life music groups produced as part of that franchise. The mobile game D4DJ Groovy Mix and the anime First Mix were created to create larger fictions for the characters that the performers were playing on stage. An example of this is when Kagami Karen is on stage, she is the character Akashi Maho. But the fact is, Maho doesn't have much of a personality outside of the performance stage. So stories are made to create that personality, which is the purpose of transmedia. In regards to Rei, who was originally played by Shizaki Canon and later Iri Maiko, added a dynamic to Happy Around that the other characters did not have. Rei serves Happy Around as a more serious personality among the fun and cheery personas of the other members. However, as the seiyuu for Rei changed, this element of Happy Around had to change as well. When Shizaki Canon was Rei, the contrast to Happy Around that Rei brought was a feeling of maturity and made Rei, if I may be so bold, a sultrier character. Looking at Rei's design, she is meant to look more adult-like compared to the other members of Happy Around. The voice Shizaki gave Rei reflects that more adult feeling that Rei exhibits, whereas Happy Around exhibits what I would call a teenage dorkiness. Happy Around, in contrast to the other D4DJ units, have music that is geared toward a much younger audience and display a fun and charismatic atmosphere with a dash of youthful innocence. As far as the characters are concerned, this is well reflected in Rinku, Maho, and Mooney, especially in their fictional counterparts. Groovy Mix does backpedal on the teenage dorkiness a bit, as all the characters in D4DJ are teenage dorks in their own way. But in First Mix and All Mix, this is the distinguishing quality of their unit, and the anime having the characters be literal teenagers as opposed to adult seiyuu acting like teenagers. Think of Katy Perry's Teenage Dream, where no one in that video is an actual teenager. And good thing too, because that'd be kind of weird. Nishio Yuka's depiction of Rinku is a clear case in point to the teenage dorkiness that Happy Around exudes. When Nishio Yuka acts like a teenager on stage, it would be weird to think of her acting that way all the time. Of course, you need to extend the Rinku character beyond the stage, which is the primary function of Groovy Mix and First Mix. Coming back to Shizaki Kanon's depiction of Rei, her deeper, sultrier voice breaks that dorky tone that the other members give to their characters. This is likely due to the fact that 1. You need your music franchise to expand to an adult audience to make money, and 2. Create ways to have members within a music group sound different from each other. An example of this is found in Happy Around's Honest. This is the song where the characters incorporate rap into the song. When it comes to Rinku, Maho, and Mooney, they rap on the offbeat, and their higher-pitched voices create a jagged rhythm within the song. When Rei raps, she sings on beat and is in a lower pitch, which makes her sections feel smoother. This occurs again in the Happy Around cover of Keep on JoJo, where Rei covers the faster parts of the song. The high, slower pitch by the other members are balanced out by the deeper pitch given by Shizaki Kanon. This does not mean that the second seiyuu, Iri Maiko, isn't balancing out the sporadic nature of Happy Around. However, Iri Maiko is a very different Rei than Shizaki, as her voice is not as deep as Shizaki's. It begs the question of how Iri's Rei is able to balance out the teenage dorkiness in the other members. Before I answer that question, I want to revisit some of my thoughts in previous D4DJ videos I have done, specifically the tier list and the trope talk, and my views on Rei in those videos. When I rated Rei in my tier list, I mentioned how Shizaki added a depth to Rei's personality that felt was lost when she had stepped down as Rei. I expanded this notion further in the trope talk when I placed Rei in the cool girl category. I still stand by my original position, but I can see why it is also unfair to Iri and what she brings to the character of Rei. Asking myself why I liked Shizaki's voice was due to the point I made earlier about Rei's adult features being marketing tools to have Happy Around appeal to an adult audience. The fact of the matter is that Shizaki made Rei sound sexy, and that was a big part of her character appeal. This was the biggest obstacle for Iri to overcome when taking on the role of Togetsu Rei. Groovy Mix spent 3 years building up a story about a girl who lost direction in her life and all confidence in her musical skill. First Mix hinted that Rei wasn't sure she was inclined to music as much as she thought she was, but this was quickly brushed aside because Bushiroad has to sell music and they need to promote Happy Around. Throughout Groovy Mix, Rei expands her circle of friends and builds up her ability to trust others, especially the other members of Happy Around and Esora of Piki Piki. The Rei and Esora relation event, Sweet Time Drifts Lazily, is the climax of Rei's character arc from a girl unsure if she will pursue music to a confident pianist who is sure of whom she is. After rewatching First Mix and revisiting earlier stories of Groovy Mix that Bushiroad for some reason didn't revoice, the sexy and confident Rei that Shizaki portrayed is beginning to feel out of place in light of the meek and gentler Rei that Iri portrays throughout Groovy Mix and All Mix. With Groovy Mix containing the bulk of Rei's character development, I've gotten used to Iri voicing Rei as well as connecting to Rei better. It makes sense to have Rei have a meeker presence when portraying a girl with a mysterious aura to her that is somewhat closed off even to her closest friends. Iri captures this better than Shizaki, as I now feel that Shizaki's portrayal is a bit jarring after getting to know Rei for the last 3 years. In regards to Rei interacting with other characters, Iri's interpretation allows for Rei to have a dorky element to Rei's character, which makes sense as she is often depicted as being naive. Within Happy Around, Iri's Rei contrasts the perky voice of Mooney, voiced by Memura Haruka, that highlights Mooney's sharp tongue. The meekness of Iri's voice makes Rei gentler when speaking to others when one compares her to Mooney. Shizaki's interpretation has Rei appear too mature to participate in Mooney's teenage attitude, but that is something I expect more from Ibuki of Photon Maiden or Haruna of Lyrical Lily than I do from Rei. Rei as a character is meant to be unassuming since she herself is not depicted as being overconfident, so she would not sound as if she were above her peers, which I feel Iri captures very well in her acting. Another drastic change made by Iri's interpretation of Rei is within the four-girl gang trope dynamic between herself and Kagami Karen's Akashi Maho. The problem of Shizaki's voice for Rei is that it makes Rei appear to be the hot one with her mature voice when she's supposed to be closer to the cool one. It makes sense that Shizaki's mature tone gives her that aura of coolness, which was what Bushiroad was probably going for. But it does detract from Maho's role as the hot one of Happy Around without relying on bust and butt shots. Rei's Seiyu change moves Rei out of the hot girl territory and gives Maho the monopoly of Happy Around's sexualization. I swear, I have become as bad as Bushiroad in so much that I can't make a script involving Maho that doesn't mention her body. Finally, we have the contrast between Rei and Rinku, which is where I doubled down on Shizaki strongly contrasting the cool girl aspect of Rei versus Rinku's meathead personality. My initial belief of Ide detracting from Rei's coolness factor comes from this dynamic. However, this has been toned down in Groovy Mix's writing. More often than not, Rinku and Rei do not have the typical dumb blonde versus dark-haired beauty rivalry dynamic. Often with this trope, the dark-haired beauty tends to have a more mature tone in their voice to emphasize on their standoffish attitude toward the carefree blonde. But as I just mentioned, this is not the case between Rei and Rinku. Edie's interpretation of Rei allows for her to simply be one of the girls of Happy Around, where they are all just being dorky teenagers together, and that heightens the innocent and fun image of Happy Around.
最初にやろうって言ってた曲。はいそうですけどレイちゃんの歌すっごく良かった。曲にバッチリ合ってた。ありがとうございます。次のライブでやる新曲やっぱりこれにしよう。絶対これがいい。でもこの曲リンクさんのイメージに合わないからって。だからレイちゃんが歌うの。 Blast away the rainy season to call in summer. レイニーなんとかかんとかカモンカモンなんて言ってないでしょ。 Blast away the rainy season to call in summer. 吹き飛ばす冬を吹き飛ばして夏を呼ぶっていうのがテーマ。ムニ got it right. ムニさんすごいです。私も同じようなこと考えてたのにね。ナイトメアって悪夢という意味ですよね。ハピアラはあまり使わない言葉。とっても新鮮です。This is great.
Other character dynamics to note where Edie's meeker interpretation of Rei stands out are her interactions with Esra of Piki Piki. This is exemplified in the Sweet Time Drifts Lazily Rei and Esra story. But before that, I need to extrapolate voice comparison with Shizaki's interpretation of Rei and how she interacts with Toa of Photon Maiden and Marika of Mermaid. In the Marine Girls Summer Live event, Rei works a weekend temporary job at a food stall ran by Toa's aunt, with Toa, Marika, and Haruna of Lyrical Lily. Rei struggles at first, but Toa gives her advice on how to serve the customers and overcome her social anxiety. Although the point of Marine Girls Summer Live is to emphasize Toa's ability to mentor those younger than her and her leadership skills, which are downplayed when she is with Photon Maiden, Shizaki's voice serves to make Toa remarkable by having Toa be socially mature to contrast Rei's apparent maturity. Revisiting the Marine Girls Summer Live story has Rei's tone conflict with Rei's lack of life experience through Toa's life experience superseding her spunky attitude. Toa is not the only character that reminds Rei that she lacks experience, and reminds the audience that Rei has a lot of growing up to do. In the Full Enjoying Souvenir member card for Rei, we are reminded that Rei's family life is a very lonely one. In this member card story, we learn that Rei's older sister is never around due to full-time actress work. Marika takes it upon herself to act as an older sister figure to Rei. Once again, we are in a situation similar to the Marine Girls Summer Live event, where Shizaki's interpretation of Rei is too bold for a character who is supposed to be taken care of by others. In this case, Marika, who is similar to Toa in being the immature one of her unit, yet appears mature here when relating to Rei. Shizaki's voice does allow for an interesting contrast to highlight the strengths of older characters who can appear childish.
いえ、お届け物もありましたので、これ姉が皆さんにお渡ししようと思っていたお土産なのですが。これ前にマリカがいいなって言ってたお菓子。海外の本店でしか買えないやつだ。はい、応援の代わりと言ってはなんですが、皆さんで召し上がってくださいとのことです。ありがとう。じゃあ今回も海外なのかな。はい、半月ほどの予定だそうで。相変わらずの大活躍だね。そうですね。おかげさまで姉は相変わらず忙しそうにしています。あれ？じゃあ初日のレイちゃんの出番には？はい、そちらにも来られないようで。残念だね。
仕事の方が大切ですから。
レイちゃん、やっぱりいい子だよね。
いえ、そんな恐縮です。
よーし、今日は一日マリカがレイちゃんのお姉さんになってあげようかな。
マリカさんが私のお姉さん？
うん、一緒にいろんな出店を回って美味しいものを買ってあげるの。お姉ちゃんに任せなさいって。
それは楽しそうです。
って言っても、さすがにここから離れたらみんなに迷惑かかっちゃうか。
そうですね。なのでお気持ちだけで十分ですよ。
でもなあ。そうだ、ちょっと待ってて。お待たせ。これうちの店の牛タンだよ。たくさんあるからよかったらみんなで食べてね。
わあ、こんなに温かくってとっても美味しそうな香り。マリカさん、ありがとうございます。ハピアラのみんなでいただきますね。
The relationship between Rei and Esra is a vastly layered dynamic. In both First Mix and O Mix, they have little interaction with each other. This is largely dissimilar to Groovy Mix, where these two characters are said to have been close friends for years, and have several member card episodes where they interact. This pretext is vital to telling a story that D4DJ has placed on the back burner for years, as they wanted the Rei story arc, which has been flirted with since episode 4 of First Mix. Sweet Time Drifts Lazily is about Rei rediscovering herself through her love and passion for music, especially her piano playing. It starts with Rei's mother asking Rei to get back into the game of professional piano playing, and Rei signs up for a piano competition. Through most of the story, Rei is struggling to prepare for this competition, as all she can think about is her trauma in middle school, where she froze during a piano recital. Rei is essentially paralyzed by fear due to this trauma, and those thoughts drive Rei into despair. Iri captures the meek and vulnerable aspects of Rei's personality, and in the story even elevates that sense of weakness in Rei. The way Iri speaks and breaks her naturally softer voice to emphasize Rei's feelings of weakness is what sold me on Iri being a great seiyuu choice for Rei. In a story where Rei is essentially crying for help, Iri was able to capture the emotional state of Rei in a very convincing and compelling way. Her interpretation reminds the audience that Rei is immature due to her life inexperience. Esra, the person closest to Rei, is the one who carries her out of her trauma by having Rei ask herself how much she loves piano and to focus on that love instead of the fear of failure. Esra does the smart thing, and instead of just telling Rei to get a grip on her emotions, she takes care of Rei, opens up to Rei about her own doubts and past weaknesses, tells Rei to forgive herself from her past, and is willing to speak to Rei's mother as a stand-in for Rei to sort through Rei's traumas. Esra's actions greatly reflect the idea of there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not been perfected in love. Although this saying is ultimately found in the person of Jesus Christ in the Christian worldview, as far as D4DJ is concerned, the writer uses Esra's love to bolster Rei's ability to love herself, and by extension learn to love piano once again. It is this love that allows Rei to play at the recital, making her family, friends, and herself proud, and move forward in life past the trauma into a brand new world.
のかがわからなくて、言葉で伝えるよりレイちゃんにはもっと素直に自分の気持ちを伝える方法があるんじゃないかしら。言葉よりも。そう、 ちろん私に対してもね。
そらさん、
さあ演奏を続けましょう。久しぶりの連弾だから失敗しても多めに見てくれる？
はい、こちらこそお手柔らかに。長い間お邪魔してしまってすみません。でもとても楽しかったです。
私も楽しかったわ。でも遅くなってご両親は心配されないかしら？
先ほど夕方には帰ることを両親に伝えましたので大丈夫だと思います。
そうなら安心ね。
エスラさん、
どうしたの？
私、洋画学園に入学して本当に良かったです。だってエズラさんとまた会えたから。
なーに？突然改まって。
私、自分一人では何もできなくて、もし自分がピアノを弾けなくなったら何か価値があるのかなって思っていたんです。でも今は違います。エスラさんやハピアラのみんなは私がピアノを弾けなくてもそばにいてくれる。
お友達でもな、当然のことよ。
でも一人じゃないって思えることがどんなに心強いか、エスラさんが私に教えてくれたんです。だから私もエスラさんにそう思ってもらえる存在になりたい。これってわがままでしょうか？
いいえ、私はその言葉だけで十分よ。ありがとう。
すみません、帰り際に変なことを言って。失礼します。
一人じゃ何もできないのは私も同じよ、レイちゃん。
There is one more discourse I want to discuss in regards to Rei and her two voices, and that is, of course, her singing. It is only fitting we complete the circle comparing the voices of Rei in regards to singing, as this is what inspired the essay in the first place. For the first year of Iri as Rei, listening to new Happy Around music, I didn't pay much thought as to how Iri performs as Rei, as I just accepted that she was different from Shizaki without really asking why she is different. That was until I listened to the 2023 version of Brand New World, where the difference really stood out to me. Brand New World is about moving beyond your comfort zone so that you can have a fuller life. While the lyrics remain the same between the two versions, there's a sort of tone difference that is felt when different voices express these words, and thus two different ideas are projected. With Shizaki's deeper and mature tone, I get the impression that Rei was being introspective and seeing herself as someone who is prepared to face the next phase of life. Edie's version of Brand New World takes a different approach to how Rei sees her relationship with the world and life as a whole. Rei is a woman coming of age in Shizaki's interpretation. The softer voice of Iri's Rei gives off an impression that reminds us of how young and innocent Rei really is. I mean, in universe, Rei has been 15/16 years old for 3 years now. The best way to describe Iri's interpretation of Brand New World is that she possesses a sense of wonder about life. I mean by this is that one would get the impression that Rei is describing herself as being innocent and curious about the world she lives in. Yet, there's also excitement heard in her innocence. Iri's version pulls the audience into a sense of mystery that drives Rei to explore new possibilities, now that she is no longer shackled by past fears, motivated by renewed passion. It is funny thinking of the song in this way, since Brand New World was written early in the Rei character arc, but this new interpretation has me think that when Rei first sang the song in first mix, it was representative of Happy Around, coming of age, sort of speak, as they had become a real DJ unit. The 2023 version of Brand New World allows Rei to fit in better with the other Happy Around members in that teenage dorkiness image that they possess. The youthful innocence that is recaptured in Edie's interpretation distinguishes Happy Around from the other D4DJ units and solidifies their contribution to the franchise. In conclusion, I underestimated how well Edie Michael played the role of Rei after Shizaki Canon. At first I thought that changing Rei could not be done well because of what Shizaki contributed to Rei and D4DJ in the first 2 years. However, instead of thinking Edie as simply filling in the role of Rei, one should see Edie as a new unique interpretation with her own value to the D4DJ franchise. I have come to appreciate how Edie gives Rei a gentler vibe that fits Rei's timid personality and quirkiness that builds up the happy and fun themes of Happy Around. While I liked the mature tone of Shizaki, I also have come to like Edie's innocent tone with Rei quite a lot. I hope that Edie continues to present a Rei that people will love and enjoy for the foreseeable future, and I look forward to future stories of Edie's Rei.
This チャレンジしてくるなんてやるじゃない。